Alright, it's another day, and it's another day that I'm going to be working on the racing lawnmower over here. I didn't film much of it, I just sort of explained what I was going to do, but I got the brake working. So the pedal is now nice and stiff. It should stop the racing lawnmower, I think. The only thing I'm going to add is a spring in the back so the caliper doesn't get stuck in like a on position, so to say. But everything still works as it should. If I go around the other side, because now I don't have the bungee cord holding the clutch, should fire right up. No harm, no foul, no drama. Alright, that's the works. Today's goal is to get that spring on the brake, obviously. It should, as long as I find the right spring or a spring that I want to use, should take about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to have to redo the steering. I have some parts and pieces over there so I can fix up the steering again and, you know, make it better than it was before. And then maybe I'll ride it. There's also the hood that I gotta re-support and re-brace that I gotta get back on there so it's actually rideable with the hood. And it's not done. There's still some finishing touches, like there's an idler pulley that I can get in there if I need to. I'd like to add lights to there at some point, but I gotta find one of our friendly Chinese suppliers to send me a light. But oh, there's also the throttle. Right now it has the hand throttle on the dashboard. I want to have a hand throttle on the steering wheel with a brake lever, bike brake lever that I have. I just need to make that happen. Then, of course, there's a little bit of a sneak preview because it's probably going to be in the back of the videos. This is a snowmobile engine that's going to be going in another project. You could probably guess which one if you've been paying attention. Alright, we're up under the poor girl's skirt, and you probably kind of see it, but my steering is all bent to shit. It was a lot worse when I first looked after hitting the door over there, and this outside of the frame over here is all fucking cattywampus. So the basic design of what I have going on here worked. There are a few improvements that I'm going to make when I take it apart and redo it, one of which of course is making it stronger. But so all I'm going to do now is just cut this off of my frame so I can rework it and whatnot. Here's the outside of the frame. You can see that it's got quite a bit of a bow here, and it was worse when I first stopped the garage door. I had jacked up the front that particular day and bent it back in so it was usable again, but this is all bent out of shape and whatnot, so like I said, I'm just going to cut this off, rework it. Here are the tie rods themselves. They actually have held up extremely well considering how hard I hit the door. There's actually really anything wrong with these. I'm just going to improve upon them by using a 3/8 fretted rod instead. And these end links, I actually didn't mean to buy these particular end links. I meant to just get more of these, but whatever. It'll all thread together instead, and I'll have a locking nut so it all, you know, works out and is semi-adjustable. Okay, I have assembled the pieces to remake the steering version 2. I'm just gonna get the welder, drill some holes, do some shit, and it'll look like that. Alright, you're looking at the side of the frame again. I used the hammer, monkey wrench, or actually I should say it's an adjustable wrench, it's proper name. And took a 3/16 inch piece of 3x3 that I chopped out of some flat iron and made a fish plate out of it. Don't touch that, it's really hot right now. Then if we go under the lawn tractor racing lawnmower thing, I now have the new steering system in place there. It pretty much looked exactly the same as the old one, just a little bit beefier. Like this is a piece of 3/16 instead of 1/8 inch. And of course it ties into the fish plate and whatnot. Should work good. I'm just gonna let this cool off for a minute, and I gotta work on some new tie rods to get the steering connected back up. New, old. So they're more like actual turnbuckles now, so you can give it a turn this way, that way, or whatever, to do a little bit of adjustment. The old ones were solid. They worked good. They're not bent. So they're still usable for something else if I happen to have something that needs a rod that with swivel ends that's this length. A little bit specific, but I have them. These are a little bit more improved, obviously because I changed some of the steering geometries and lengths and whatnot. You know, they're not the exact same length as they were before, but time to go install that. Okay, I have hooked my steering back up, and it does work much better than it did before. I changed a couple of the steering geometry angles to give it more throw and to turn the wheels in such a way that it actually sort of works a bit better. I'm going to pack it up for the day though, probably come back tomorrow, button up, or actually just sort of button up from the front to back again, and go for another test. I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if I've talked about it before, but I did test it before. And oh, I need to still make a shifter. So right now, what I was doing was picking a gear, locking it in, and then riding it around out in the yard over there. So I need to actually build a shifter so then I could start in first, popper in second, third, fourth, fifth, and see what this thing is capable of. I used third last weekend when I was using it, and third was faster than you should probably ever go on this thing. So we'll see what happens, but yes, that's right, I do need to build a shifter. Enough talking, gotta pack up, go back home. Alright, it is actually Christmas Eve day, and I'm over here in my happy place, I guess, working on the racing lawnmower. It's over there behind me, and I am planning to make it shiftable from the seated position, because right now I have to lock it in with an adjustable wrench into one gear and then go. So I'm going to go ahead and make it shiftable from the seat. So what I've done is I have scrounged up some of the other pieces that I've had from the tractor. These are two brackets that came on the tractor from factory. I don't know what they were for. And then this is my leftover, used to be steering arm, now it's going to be a shifting mechanism, or part of the shifting mechanism, I should say. So these brackets are not usable necessarily as they are. I will have to modify them, but they're going to work. Alright, so the shifting mechanism actually worked out pretty well. It's a little bit loose right now as I'm trying to get the adjustment right in terms of how tight everything needs to be, so it has, you know, a limited amount of slack and slop, but enough free movement where you're not fighting it. But when you grab the lever, well, it's already in reverse, that would be neutral, then you can go all the way up to fifth gear as long as the seat's not in the way, and you can go all the way back down, back into reverse and whatnot. So it works out pretty well. It's actually really simple and only took about an hour to put together, because I reused a lot of the lawnmower parts and then reused this little swivel arm now that I had previously already made for the steer. So in under the fender, if you're wondering, we're coming into the fender hole, I reused whatever this plate was as a 90-degree turntable type thing, so that when you move the lever forwards and back, it moves that arm to the left and to the right over there that you can kind of barely see. So basically when this turns this way, that goes this way and that way. This handle is reused, I believe, from the original shifter that would have gone in here. I had already cut it apart, so I just remade the angle down there and just welded it on top of this plate. And yeah, there's another bracket under the 90-degree turn thing that I cut, bent, and then just welded a stud on top of, and this is one of my points need to tighten, so that gets a little bit tighter. Looking at this in here, as you can see, when you move the shifter, that gets pushed over that way. This, like I said, is the reused steering arm. These bolts need to be tightened as they're really loose right now. But this, again, is one bracket that happened to have a square hole, and then a round hole, and then a bunch of other bends and stuff. I just chopped off the middle section where there was a square hole, because the shifter point on the top of the transmission was squared and it had round edges. So I just rounded the edges off of the square hole. It locked down on there. I happened to find a fine thread 1/4-inch bolt that went down in there, and then I just have a little bit of a washer stack in there to hold it on there nice and tight. And then this is a 3/8 bolt, that's a 3/8 bolt. Obviously this is, I don't know, about 12 inches long, and voila! Put the seat down, you can bang shift this thing all fucking day. So I think the next thing to do is ride it, but I need to reinforce that hood because the hood mounts down there are kind of flopping in the breeze. Well, I've been teasing you enough about what it's like to ride, and I'm gonna have to tease you some more because I just took it for a spin outside and blew the chain clear out of it. I need to go order some more master links. I thought I might have had another couple spares, but I don't have any more master links. This thing is really sketchy. The brakes do kind of work, you know, about as good as anything else that I've built around here, but it is really fast. It actually handles all right. Well, I should take that back. It handles better than all right. It actually steers in pretty well, and you can control it and whatnot, but it is really fast, and you know, needs some further refinement still. One of which is probably to remove reverse out of it, so it's not possible to shift it into reverse while you're going forwards at like nearly full speed, because that's what blew the chain apart. Luckily it was the chain, and I didn't crack the transmission case in half or something like that, because that would be a fairly expensive mistake. It's, you know, just means I'm going to have to wait another few days or something like that to get another master link in there. But she goes, and it's fucking sketchy.